Welcome into the I-80 Boys, Penn State versus West Virginia prediction. Look, I'm going to start us off with Penn State. Christian's going to take West Virginia here. Penn State, man. Talked about them all offseason. I like them. I like James Franklin as a coach. They're expected to be one of the better teams in the country this year, a team that's probably been left out of a 12-team playoff if there was one for like 6 years in a row, right? They just can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. Good thing we got a 12-team playoff this year. So I expect Penn State to be good. There's no doubt about it. Drew Aller, he's back, had a really efficient year last year with 25 touchdowns to only, I think, 2 interceptions, which is remarkably efficient. But where he struggled, Christian, was in big games. Ohio State, Michigan, I think Penn State averaged about 13.5 points per game against those two teams. That was really their only downfall. We know at running back in Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, these two have been playing, I swear, forever. Probably the best duo in the country. Wide receiver, though, big question marks there. They need some guys to step up. Now, they did pick up Julian Fleming for Ohio State, so that's going to be huge there. I think he'll make an immediate impact and give Aller a true number one there. Defense side of the ball here, look, I mean, what do I need to say to tell you guys that their defense is going to be great? They were one of the best, if not the best defense in the country statistic-wise last year. They're bringing back about 70% of that production again. So I expect this defense to be a top 10 defense again. They're physical. They tackle well. They create turnovers. They do everything you want a legit defense and an elite defense to do. So my thing for this game, Christian, you know, we know West Virginia wants to run the ball, and I'm sure you'll talk about it here in a minute. Penn State only had one game last year where they allowed over 200 yards, and I'm sure you know what game that is. So it's going to be quite my big thing with this game and predicting how this is going to go is going to be, can they stop that run of West Virginia? So before I get into that, my prediction, though, I'm going to kick it over to Christian here for the West Virginia Mountaineers.
Absolutely, Chris. Look, Neil Brown got off the hot seat, finally, after going 9-4 last year. Right? The Mountaineers, they have a lot to look forward to this year, right? Especially in this game against Penn State. They should really like their chances, right? And I'll tell you why. It's at West Virginia. Okay, first and foremost, at West Virginia. The game last year against Penn State was 21-7 going into the fourth quarter, right? Wasn't completely out of hand yet, but Penn State pulled away with that one. And lastly, West Virginia has Garrett Green back. They should like their chances. Speaking of Green, he put up over 3,100 yards last year and 29 touchdowns, right? Look, Chris, the Mountaineers get back guys like Cole Taylor, Hudson Clement, and Preston Fox, which is great for Green to keep building chemistry with them, right? You always love getting guys back and continuing that chemistry when it comes down to college football or the NFL for that matter, right? Penn State's strength on defense is shutting the pass down, right? I would say, of the two things they do, they can shut the pass down really well. So it's good for them to be able to get some experience back there. The Nittany Lions, by the way, rank 7th in terms of fewest passing yards allowed, right? So West Virginia is going to have to be able to do something at some point throwing the football to keep themselves in it. The running back position, I think it's going to be great. They have a lethal 1-2 punch with Jaheim White and C.J. Donaldson Jr. They combined for 1,800 yards and 17 touchdowns last year, Chris. We know Penn State in years past, and you touched on it, their weakness at some points is against teams that can run the football. You said it. Michigan ran the ball down their throat 33 straight times. Yeah, I don't think West Virginia necessarily needs to do that, but they have to be able to run the football, right? The O-line should be one of the best in the Big 12, if not in the country. Chris, they only allowed 10 sacks last year. That was the third fewest in the country. Wow. Now, they'll need to be stout, though. Penn State, we know every year they seem to replace and they seem to produce these elite pass rushers, some of the best in the country, every single year. We know that. On defense, the Mountaineers, they finished ranked middle of the pack in terms of total defense, but this is a unit that can rush the passer. Right? They didn't necessarily have one guy that stood out from a pass rushing sense, right? But they rotated guys in and they kept getting constant pressure on quarterbacks. A ton of guys on their roster had 2 sacks, whatever. Right? So that's going to be very important for them because, like you said, Drew Aller, if you can get him off his mark and you can kind of get to him, you might have a shot in this one. I'd say for West Virginia, they were decent last year at shutting down the run. They ranked in the top 50. They might have to be a little bit better in this one. They're going to have to be a little bit better, right? We know how great Penn State's running back room is. Okay, where this game ultimately will be won and lost, right? And we talked about it, though, is can they get to Aller? I know we just touched on that, right? This is a situation that last year on defense, the Mountaineers, allowed 237 passing yards a game. Interestingly, Drew Aller's best game last year throwing the football was against West Virginia. He put up 325 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Okay. With that being said, Chris, I want to hear from you. What is your prediction of this game? Who you got winning? What's the score here?
Okay. All right, Christian. I got Penn State 34, West Virginia 17. I know this game's going to probably look closer to the first half, but I see Penn State pulling away in the second. I do. I know for a fact that you're going to come on here in 2 seconds and tell me you're a closet West Virginia fan and they're pulling the upset. Let me know.
Country roads, take me home. I'm not going to finish the rest of that song, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you right now. Penn State 27, West Virginia 30. Book it. West Virginia's winning this one, son.
Oh my God, man. Well, I like I said, this is a low-key really good matchup. I think this game is getting overshadowed in week 1 with all the other great games being played. I'm definitely going to be tuned into this one, though. And for me, Christian, the reason why I'm picking Penn State here by 17 is I think that West Virginia is a good team. I don't think they were the team with 9 wins last year. What I mean by that is I think they kind of had an outlier season. I think they're going to regress a little. I do think Penn State's going to be better this year with Drew Aller having another year under his belt. If West Virginia wants to hang in this one, I think you'll agree, they're going to have to be able to shut down that run of Katron Allen, Nick Singleton. Those 2 guys are awesome. And if they can run the ball on Penn State, that's huge. Keep their offense off the field. What's your thoughts on that, Christian?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, West Virginia, they're going to have to be stout, right? They're going to have to shut down Penn State's ability to run the football. They're going to have to force Drew Aller to beat them throwing the football. And then when that happens, right, they're going to have to get to Drew Aller. They're going to have to get him off his mark. And if that breaks down, you have to be able to hold up in pass coverage down the field, obviously, right? I think on the other side of it, like we talk about all the time here, a very important thing is play keep away from Penn State in this game, right? Do not keep giving them chances. Run the football. Set that up in the first half, come back to it in the second half and start hitting some play actions, right? And it, kind of like we saw with Georgia Tech, what they did to Florida State, right? They got a little cute at times. They started getting 3 and out, and then they realized, okay, let's just run the freaking football. They can't stop it. I would say if West Virginia wants to be successful, do they need to run it 33 times in a row? No. But do they need to run this football, try to chew as much clock, keep the ball out of Penn State's hand, and just play clean, good football and have a shot to win this? Absolutely.